Do you think that producers should get the revenue from the streaming platforms on the master side?
I
Yes.
didn't know that. But to be fair, the way he worded
The way he worded
that's why
it
I
was-
was like, he didn't say nothing about like, oh
Right.
no, I'm only talking about masters or like only this or only like TV.
One producer that she was working with was trying to exchange sex for like a couple tracks that he produced for her. I understand why there aren't more females
Facts.
in the music industry in general,
Yeah.
because they have to deal with so much bullshit.
Keep in mind, you have to keep going. Like a lot of people be like, oh, like I'm not stopping till I get my Lambo, till I get this crib. Like, bro, you're not stopping then either. You know that, right? Like,
I said, I feel like this was long overdue, and I know we were supposed to like link up damn near a month ago and do this shit, but I'm glad we could do it now.
Let's get we're here. We in
right.
here. Ooh, okay, with the fancy water bottle, I see you. Let me get a little water down here.
Gotta stay hydrated, bro.
Gotta stay hydrated.
You know? All right, cool. So I want to start here, and this is just like, think of this as just a super casual conversation between you and me.
Okay.
But I want to start, the reason why I hit you up, I think the first time that I wanted to chat with you was regarding Masters ownership with producers, because there was that video with Futuristic. It got a lot of heat in the producer community.
It was
controversial. And so I had commented on it, I think on the Producer Grind page, and just everyone chimed in, and I saw you commented on it. And so I wanted to start there and just get your thoughts on like what is your thoughts on Masters ownership for songs in regards to producers.
Are you saying as far as like the producers still retaining the rights to their masters, or part of it, or not like signing it over completely to an artist? Or
well, the rights to, I guess, the finished product, like the actual record, once it's recorded, done, and it's out there on streaming, like do you think that producers should get the revenue from the streaming platforms on the master side?
So for me, it depends on the only thing I was like advocating for, and the only thing I'm always ever advocating for, is just that the producers get just their fair split of whatever it might be. Whether if you agree, where it's like, hey, and it's up to the producer. Like if you agree, like, hey, okay, on the master side, maybe I don't need nothing there, but maybe up front I'm getting a bigger chunk of an advance, or like maybe we're doing favors, because there's a lot of favors in the industry too. Like you might do this for me, but then I might come and do this for you. So if there's some type of agreement that makes sense, then it's like, I'm all for it. But if it's like something happens where it's like, okay, the producer's feeling wronged, you know what I mean? Like, hey, like I didn't understand that, like I wasn't going to get like any kind of percentage of this song or anything like that. Then it's like, okay, that's like, I'm always just for everybody getting what they deserve, basically. So like, even for me, like say me and you collab on a beat right now, and like in the studio right now, I got like an artist, a writer, 2 other producers, and we're all on here doing some like virtual crazy little cook up. A few of them really didn't even do too much. You know what I mean? They just a little bit helped out, but they didn't really do too much. Yep. Still, I'm the type of person, like, I don't care. Like if this is something that actually comes out and it becomes official, everybody has to get what they deserve, you know what I mean? And I want everybody to feel good about it. Like music, too often music is like become, I know it's business, but it's also a thing where like, we don't want to be divided, you know what I mean? Like for music to keep working out and keep going in the right direction, we don't need to be divided. Like we got to come together. And the best way of doing that is just making sure we, treat each other all equally. And we're like, okay, look, I want to make sure you're happy, you're taken care of, but you don't want to let nobody take advantage of you, of course, or be like, nothing like that. Like everybody getting what they really deserve, and that be that, But if somebody makes a deal where they're like, hey, this is what I'm okay to do, then that's perfectly fine too. Like as long as they're, happy with that.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think I've seen in the past that has been an issue is when the producer or the songwriter or even the artist, right, just doesn't understand the business in general, and they feel like everyone is out to get them and everyone's trying to take advantage of them, and then they're like super overly cautious,
defensive,
and protective and defensive about the business, and in reality they don't really know what's that
going
even
on.
means.
Right. They just hear like, oh, there's so much snaky stuff you got to look out for, and then they're super cautious. No, that's a thing too, for sure. Like somebody being overly cautious, like, yo, I'm not trying to snake you or nothing. I'm just saying, like, right here, this is what it is. Like, yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, and so that's why I always advocate for producers just like learn the business, like,
know what you're doing, know what you're signing, know the business. Because at the end of the day, it's on you though. Like if you do sign something, and it's like, hey, even if it was like, hey, this thing said you get nothing but a salad and a piece of bread.
Yeah.
If you sign that shit, you didn't read that shit, like, that's kind of on you. You know what I mean? At the same time. But still, we still got to, be as a community, be like, hey.
We approach it from a place of, like, fairness, right? Like, we want to make sure everyone eats and everyone gets their percentages.
Yeah.
I just think that conversation is way easier and better when both parties understand what's at stake.
Oh yeah, that's how it is for everything. Like both parties got to be in communication and be able to like, okay, look, let's talk this out. Because if not, that's like war. That's why there's not peace with a lot of things. Is two parties don't communicate.
Yeah. So that's why, going back to the whole masters ownership discussion.
Yeah.
I literally just got off a Zoom call with Futuristic. About something totally unrelated, but. When he made that video, his perspective was from that of the artist, right? And I think when producers hear splits, we understand splits in a different way, where we're like, all right, well, when it comes to our music, like, I made the beat, I made the beat, I deserve to get my splits for that, which is true. But that's I think most producers are referring to the publishing side when we talk about splits, and they don't understand that there's a master's side once the record is done. Like, that is the master. And so that's what Futuristic was referring to in the video.
I didn't know that. Yes. I didn't know that. But to be fair, the way he worded it, I was like, he didn't say nothing about like, oh no, I'm only talking about masters or like only this or only like TV. If he said something like that, then nobody would have tripped. That's why I started thinking like, maybe, I don't know, did he just like ramble this up? Because he had to know people were going to say something like, is it just for content? But I'm like, nah, because I'm like, that makes sense what he's saying there. You know what I mean? But I'm like, the way he worded it, it was like he wanted the whole community to kind of be like, hey, what do you mean we don't get no splits?
Exactly, and that's what happened.
No, if it's like, yo, we agree that you get your, you get publishing, you get this, you can still do your TV, whatever, but over here, I'm not giving that, then yeah, and if you're okay with, agreeing to that as a producer, yeah, then if that's on you, like.
And he didn't even say that he wouldn't give any percentage of the masters to producers. He actually said like 10 to 10. I think he said 10 to 15%.
But still, he was just saying no masters. He just said 10. So I'm thinking like, yo, so he's saying basically the way he said it was like, okay, like instead of, okay, as a producer, if you just know the basic, then like you get placements and stuff, and you get your splits, your royalties, and it's usually 50-50 credit, stuff like that. So everybody who hears that is thinking he's like, oh no,
exactly.
Like, shit. I'm taking you down to like, maybe I might get you 10, maybe 20. I'm like, but even then I'm like, hey, like if you agree to like getting 20%, I've agreed to that for up and coming artists. Yeah. So I do understand it to a certain extent. It was just the way he worded it. Like, but especially in my SoundClick days and online days, literally in my SoundClick contract, it'll be like, usually people get, it's a point. A point is like 10. Yep. But I'm like, I'm fine with like even only 2 or 3 because you're an up and coming artist. I want you to go get your bag. Like, I know you don't have like, this crazy budget and all this type of stuff. And it's just like beat leases. Like, I don't think it's going to go, but even if it did, I just leave it up to love. And I'm like, look, if you're a real one and it goes crazy, then you'll come back and look out for me, or we'll keep working, or we'll work it out. But, since you're up and coming, so I'm fine with doing stuff like that. Honestly, it just depends on the situation too, but it was just the way he came online with that. It was like he wanted to smoke with the whole community. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean,
and that was crazy. I'm not gonna lie,
it was
insane.
I think the message just got misconstrued.
Yeah, but that happens all the time. Yeah,
yeah.
Somebody, they say what they, but they're like, damn, I guess I didn't really, I should have said it like this, or I should have threw this in there. It happens all the time,
Yeah,
no big deal.
Because I posted a comment like, I agree with him. I think it was communicated wrong, but I agree with him. And producers were coming at me. They were like,
shit! They turned on Kato. They're like, Kato, what?
Yeah,
we thought you were one of us.
I even saw
you good sir.
TM88 like.
Not 88.
Yeah, he said something to me. He was like, "Bro, do you hear what the hell you're saying right now?" And I reached out to him. And I jumped on his Twitch later that day and just clarified, what I meant by that.
Yeah.
And it was all good. But like,
I think that's what I'm saying. Like the way he put it out, the way he said it, that's why all of us were like, yo.
Up in arms.
Because it's also because, like, I'll tell you, it's also because, I mean, you as a producer, this in the community, we already have to deal with so much shit. You know what I mean? Like, we got to fight for our money. Even on records, even on deals that are done and they're legit, and like our music attorneys, whatever, everybody's like, yo, this is legit, let's go. But we gotta fight just to get the paper signed, just to get the back from their legal team. And then when it's time to get your check and your money, you gotta fight some of these labels. Like, and we don't have like a producer union or nothing like that. Like Sunny Digital, the bro, he was trying to make like kind of something like that, but he got so much stuff going on, and he's on the artist side, so he's already said like, look, I kind of like tried to help guide, but I can't, I don't have time to do all that. I laid the way, but it's up to you guys to kind of, build something and bring something together. He'll be a part, but we do need something like that. Cause literally, like right now, one of my latest placements is big. I ain't gonna say what, but one of let's just say my biggest latest placement, I don't even have an agreement for it. It's been out for almost this whole year almost. It's big as hell. I have not agreed to nothing. Like, I didn't agree that they could release it. And this is major, massive, like, artists. You know what I mean? I could technically, sue them or do anything like that. But you can't, do that as a producer, because then it's like,
right.
And it'll get sorted. So it's not that. Like, it'll happen, but especially independent labels, like, bro, it doesn't matter how big they are or anything like that. You literally got to fight for your money. You got to, like, you and your music attorney got to be, like, dogs. So it's like, we already got to fight like that. So then we heard him like, oh, by the way, what? Yo, you producers think you getting splits out here? Shit, right. I might give you 10. I might give you 20. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
And like Sonny's a cool ass dude. Like, he's not like, he don't, for him to be like, man, whatever, he's not like that. I mean, he is like that, but you got to really like, he's a super chill, like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Reminds me of like a hippie, he's super laid back, super cool, like, so for him, and I was like, damn, I'm like, oh man, they got Sonny wild up. I'm like, this is a crazy statement. But then I did start seeing comments saying, yo, I think he's talking about the masters. And I'm like, well, if he's talking about like just something like that, like, hey, no, you get all what you get, but I'm just saying over here, the way I'm working, and and if you agree to it, you agree to it. If he would have worded it differently, then I definitely see what he's saying. But the way he came out, man, he put himself in the
made himself a target.
In the fire, boy. I was like, no, man, because we got to stand up for each other. Like I said, as a community,
I feel
man,
you.
we get thrown around. Producers 100%. Don't get we're starting to get like the respect, that we deserve for sure. We have been like it to a point though, like online, to the fans, to the people, which that's what matters the most. But also on the business side, though, we need more respect on the business side. And unless you're like Metro, Murda, top tier, top, like, you know what I mean, then, bro, they're gonna, and even if you're top, I got homies that are top, that are like,
course.
bro,
they still go through
the label that I'm having some issues with. Again, I won't say who, but another producer that's like one of their, I mean, he's like big. He was like, bro, we had a record that's like, it went 5-6 times platinum, and I still had no agreement from him yet. It took like a whole year for them to give it to him. I'm like, bro, no payment, no anything. I'm like, no credit. It doesn't even like, it's like, well, if there's credit, it says like, I produce it and stuff, but no like actual, we haven't agreed to any splits, anything. So it's like,
Right.
Whenever I hear like, oh, our producers are in trouble, bro, we got to put our capes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
but I see what he means now. I do see what he meant now.
Now
I feel bad for him because I'm like, damn, bro. Well, I mean, as long as he's came out those incidents and been like, this is what I meant, right?
I think he tried. I don't know how many people paid attention to that part, which, you know, is unfortunate. But that's why we just got to continue having the dialogue around that type of shit, you know, because it's just a constant like learning process, you know what I mean?
Nah, I feel it.
But what I was gonna say is like, I don't know, I feel like you are not the type of producer, as far as I know, from what I see of, you know, when I see Superstar O on Instagram or how you brand yourself and put yourself out there, you're kind of like me, where you're not the type of producer that's like, I'm going to chase the biggest placements possible. Like, all I'm focusing on is, like, chasing placements, getting cuts with the biggest artists out, you know?
Right.
Is that, you know,
no,
do you feel...
There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if that's what the mission you're on, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm definitely on the mission where it's like, I'm trying to get those, you know, with the, you know, because we all got our artists they're massive and we've always wanted to work with them, stuff like that, you know, and that's good to chase that. But no, definitely not the only thing. Because if you make that, like, you know, the only thing, I mean, you know how it is. Like, you kind of gotta hustle in a few different ways if you really want to be okay in this game, in this industry. You know,
it's tough, bro. Like, the whole placements game is a fucking rat race.
It is, and a lot of it's left up to, like, you know, the network, who you know, friends on friends, because a lot of the industry is friends using friends, you know, which is like, yeah, of course you want to look out for your friends, or labels using individuals that are under the same labels, keeping all the money in house. So if you're like, look, I'm trying to still be independent, I don't want to sign to know this, or I don't want to, you know, get a pub deal over here under this and stuff like that, then it is, hey, you gotta, like, you know, because they're trying to keep all that money circulating in their foundations, you know, in their whoever's under this, you know, stuff like that. It does break out, you know, but.
And also, I feel like unless you have a major top 10 hit,
exactly, like, unless you're like, oh, everybody's looking for you, you know, like, you're massive right here, then
the checks aren't that big unless you have one of those records. You know, like.
People seem to think like all, I guess what I was like placements are just like, oh, you get a placement and like, oh, you're just set, like, oh, you're rich as hell, like, bro just top an island, 3 cribs, Lambo. Like, it's like, yo, dude, what do you, hold on now, even if it's big huge artists on it, unless it's like you said, a hit, you know, and it's on a big, it's doing crazy numbers, then like, no, like, you're not, you'll make a cool like chunk, but like, you could make that working, you know what I mean? Like, it isn't like the craziest stuff, but where it does come in is like longevity. So the catalog, that's where it really is at. Like, for me anyway, like, some people do just shoot straight for the hits, but honestly, I don't know, I always shoot for the hits, but as far as the music. But as far as the business stuff, you don't really ever, sometimes, you know, like, or the artists or the people know, like, oh, this is about to go crazy, like, hands down, they got the people behind them and everything, so it's a hit, so, you know, they know. But a lot of times you don't know, so it's like, I always say, just focus on just making great music you love, and, like, you know, just let that catalog stack, because that's what it really is. Over the years, like, yeah, you'll hit on some chunks that are like, oh man, this was a hit, or something super big that did really good, whatever. But in between all that, keep on going, because then you stack up, like, independent placements, you know, placements with smaller artists on the up and coming, big artists that the song just might not have did nothing crazy, but it was still on the album or whatever, and you just keep stacking that up, and then your catalog over the years keeps going. The only thing is, like, catalog also isn't as good as it used to be, because it's so much music released now, and there's so much streaming, so music doesn't live as long as it used to. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
there's
true.
Still, though, people going back and listening to old music and stuff like that, and music from, you know, time going on still, but it's not like it used to be, where, you know, people would still be listening to...
Well, but then you also have the situations where, like, okay, a producer stacks up a pretty dope catalog with some like pretty notable hits in there, and then they'll go off and sign a publishing deal and sell off all their publishing, either for a long ass time or forever. You know, they might get a pretty big advance up front
that they gotta pay back.
And then they don't own their publishing anymore. So then, you know, then there's those situations, which is honestly what I've seen happen a lot with producers who catch these like big hits, is like, okay, are you going to turn down $1 million check from this publishing company?
Right.
That's a hard decision to make sometimes.
That's a lot of money. Yeah, that's a hard decision and a lot of money. I mean, in some instances I've seen where it does make sense. And it's like, okay, yeah, you did a nice pub deal. Like you sorted it out. You've seen how you didn't take too much. Maybe you took however much made sense. And you're like, oh, I know. You know, because the way I would say, if you're looking into a pub deal, because here's the one sad thing. I'll just be all the way honest. I don't know if you know about it, but especially when the pandemic hit, people were giving out them pub deals like it was no tomorrow on purpose. Yeah. They were locking down as many people as they could. I was getting emails, like I'm talking, it was pub deal scams basically, where it was a real thing, but you were getting locked in to some shit, you know, and they would throw some money in front of you. And during pandemic and all that, they got a lot of people, man. They got a lot of producers, unfortunately. But what I would say is, if you are looking at a pub deal, because pub deals can be good too, it just has to be something that works out. Say they come at you with this obscene amount of money, and you're like, whoa, like of course I want that. Just always remember, you have to pay this back. This is basically like a loan. You're not getting any other income, you know, from your actual royalties and stuff, because that's like funneling into there, because they're taking that.
They're
until
recouping.
They get their money back. They're recouping. So the best thing is, like, if you need that money, if you don't need that money and you're already like rolling, don't even take it. Like, you don't need it. It might be a lot, but you can make that as you keep going. There's so many ways to, you know, hustle up. But if you do need a little extra chunk, then just look at like, okay, how much is my money? How much is my, you know, streams and everything that's coming in that they would be taking over? How much is that making me currently every month? And then look at like, okay, well, if I take this out, tell them I only want this amount, it'll take me about this long, I think, to pay it off. And if you just think about stuff a bit, you can work it out to where you can kind of hustle them, you know, or not hustle them, but you work together how it should be. Like, look, you're giving me this, make it more fair. But there's some out there that they're trying to lock you into some crazy shit. So you definitely got to be careful, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm cussing a lot. I don't know if you have cussing.
No, it's all good. Okay. It's all good. This is not a family friendly show, so
okay.
It's cool. So, you know, one of the things that I think is dope that I've been seeing more often is like, or that I want to continue seeing more often is like female producers in music. And
hell yeah,
I've been seeing that pop up more and more, especially on Instagram, you know, because I'm just on Instagram like every day. I see a lot of female producers popping up, which I think is dope.
Hell yeah.
And then I saw a headline today. I don't know if you saw this. You might have seen it, but Ashanti was on The Breakfast Club, and she was talking about one producer that she was working with was trying to exchange sex for like a couple tracks that he produced for her, but not even just like he straight up asked her like, yo, let's take a shower together. Like,
what?
Like, take a shower with me and I'll
charge give you these beats.
Yeah. And I won't charge you for these tracks.
Wow.
And I just saw that and I was like, okay,
wow.
I understand why there aren't more females in the music industry in general, you know, because they have to deal with so much bullshit.
In industry in general, you look at gaming, you look at, you know, there's these companies that are like top tier, you know, like everybody's there, and then they get hit with those sexual acts and all type of stuff. Women have it hard, man. Like,
it's tough, man.
It's tough. There's a lot of like creepy, manipulative type of, you know, people. For you to just literally be like, I'll work with you, but
it's
like, what?
It's
those
insane.
are trash. Like, that's a trash person for real. Like, why would you even? That's crazy. Did she expose who they were?
She didn't say who it was, but I was curious.
Like,
I was
air they ass out. Like, air them out.
Know.
To Ashanti? Like, what? Hey, what? No, she can't say who they are. Somebody else, he'd come up.
I was hoping she would, because I was like,
facts. They deserve it. Like, what
facts.
the fuck?
Yeah, because that's
crazy,
fucked up,
man. To be like, I'll work with you, but you got to take this shower with me. Like, bro, what the fuck fuck's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
Man, that's crazy. That's another thing. We got it. Like I said, it's all unity. Like, we stand up for the community of producers. We got to stand up for our people. Like, you know, our women, anybody that needs that type of. Like, hell no. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's whack. It's definitely whack.
I didn't see that though.
Speaking
That's
of,
crazy.
yeah, look it up after.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that. Dang, what did everybody say? I mean, everybody was probably like, "Wow, like what the fuck?"
Yeah, I mean,
on the Breakfast Club,
pretty much that was the consensus.
But you hear that a lot. It's crazy to hear, you know, somebody like Ashanti actually just coming out and being like, "Look, I'll straight up let you know, like, yeah, this stuff is real." But you honestly hear stuff like that all the time in Hollywood stuff. I got, you know, like, I know people who have been, you know.
And imagine how many more people that haven't said shit about it.
Because they're so afraid and they think something you don't ever know. These are some of these people are like powerful people where we're, you know what I mean? And it's like, hey,
yeah,
the world, man, it's a lot of darkness in it, unfortunately. That's why, like, again, we gotta, it's up to us, you know what I'm saying? Because not everybody's on that same wavelength where it's all peaceful, you know, or, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of community, you're on Twitch, right?
Yeah. I don't stream as much as I used to, but I definitely I love Twitch. I still be on there.
Bro, Twitch is something that I just never got into because I feel like I'm not built for the live stream shit. Like I just don't like live streaming. And I see other producers and other just creators in general who are really good at it. And I'm like, man, that's a skill. Like, if you can be entertaining on live stream and people are willing to tune in same time every week and just see you and want to talk to you, like you have a strong community. You know what I mean?
No, that's true. That's true.
So how did that start for you? And
so for me, like I watched Twitch for like maybe literally forever now. I've been watching Twitch since like maybe just watching it, like, cause you know, when we're in the studio, we're just like, you know, I'm in here alone, you know, and I'm coming up with ideas or I'm doing whatever, but I'm usually in here alone. So I'll have like Twitch on my second monitor and I'll watch like gamers or people painting or Bob Ross or somebody that's live, all type of different stuff that's on there. And it'll just be like cool. So it's kept me company for like ever. And then I was always like, man, like, it looks fun, you know. I'm like, man, but one day I want to try to stream. But I was always like, you know, when it's the right time, it'll come, and then I'll know, and then that's when I'll do it. And then pandemic hit, you know, you couldn't travel, you couldn't go anywhere. Like right in the beginning, it was like you couldn't do anything. So I'm just here, and I'm like, well, if I'm ever gonna stream, let's try it now.
Yeah.
And I just turned it on. And initially, you know, if you go back, I uploaded like my first ever stream, I think, on my YouTube, and it's like, bro, it was so crazy. Like it was like, whoa. I literally just turned stuff on. It was just like, yo, so what's going on here? Can you guys hear me? And then I just got addicted to it. Like it was cool. Cause this is one thing I'll say is it does seem intimidating, like you said, as far as like, cause you gotta be like, you know, you're live, you know what I mean?
Right.
You gotta be entertaining and you gotta keep people. And initially when I first started, I was like, okay, I'm me, but I'm still trying to like make sure I'm being entertaining and making sure I'm trying to like keep everybody, you know, like tuned in. But over time, like when you're just like, fuck it.
You just
know
do
what
your
I mean?
thing.
Like you literally just act like how we're just sitting here talking, like if this was live, like you just don't act any different. You know, maybe of course you're like a little funny or something, or you know, a little zinger here and there, but you do even better though. Like you feel better as a streamer, like, cause it's no pressure. Like you're just like, okay, like there's just a camera on and I'm just being me. Like, and then they feel that and they like that. They feel like, okay, like, you know, people feel when you're just like being genuine and you're just, you know, so you don't, if you ever do want to try it, like, don't even think you have to like be over entertaining or nothing. Like you'd be surprised if you just went on there, like, what's good? You know, it's Kato, like, today we chilling, like, how's everybody doing? What's good? You know, we're gonna mess with this or mess with that. Like people love that type of content because it's like they get to see. Go ahead.
Do you listen to people's beats? Like, what do you do on live stream?
Yeah, hell yeah. So most of the time now, like, the most content I say is like we do feedback night, which is like, you know, I let everybody pull up. They submit like all their beats or songs or samples, or even if you're not a producer, like, and you make, you know, graphic art or anything creative, like as long as, you know, it can't be anything X-rated, but anything creative, like it's usually music and it's usually songs and samples, but sometimes we get people showing us like shirts and like pottery and like, you know, they make whatever they make, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people in the community that don't even make music, but most of them is like, it's feedback night for like beats and samples and songs. I do beat battles, you know, where it's like, okay, there's a, you know, like a small cash prize, but it's really just about all of us coming together and having like a little competition, having fun, a little friendly competition. The beat battles are super lit, you know, like I all the little buttons that I'll push and it's cool. And then like sometimes I'll play games like I do that rarely, but sometimes I'll just turn the camera on and just game. And
do you get paid off of Twitch? How does that work?
Yeah. So in the beginning, or it depends. So when you first start, you got to work your way up, but you have an advantage. Somebody like you already has an advantage because you have a following already. So you don't start from zero. You announce that you're, doing this over here, and you're automatically going to start like funneling people over, and they're going to be, oh, this is tight. And so you start and you build up, and then once you get to like a certain threshold, it's not even anything crazy, but like Twitch just has I forget what it is now, but you don't have to, you hit it in like a day. You get to have like, or no, you would hit it in a day for like your numbers, but you have to stream for like, I think a couple weeks. They got to see that you're really trying to stream.
Yeah.
Then they let you get subscribers. So, just like YouTube switched to where people can pay for their subscribers if they want, Twitch started with that. So it's like they pay $4.99 a month for like a tier 1 sub. You get it. Twitch is 50-50 though, 50-50. Unfortunately, like YouTube is 70-30 though, which is really good. But I'm on a 70-30 for Twitch. You used to be able to get on a 70-30 split, depending on if you were doing really good on the platform. But they recently announced, too, that they're going, like, completely 50-50 with everything.
Sheesh.
But, yeah, that's 50-50, like, with basically however many subs you get. So it's only $2.50, really, that you get per sub. But, I mean, that can add up.
It can add up,
But then the reason why I was able to do, like, or still, I don't do it as much. But the reason why I'm still able to like do pretty good on it financially is because all my community, they can gift subs too. So like your hardcore people that are like really fucking with the community, they want to keep seeing it flourish. They can gift like 10 subs, which means, like they pay for 10 random people to get a sub, and then people can donate. People can give you bits, which is another like little digital like Twitch currency type of thing.
So it comes from the community, like
it comes from the community. Yeah. It's all up to them really, but it's up to you too. Like either you could only have. You could have 70 to 150 people watching, and if you just have a really strong community, and they show good love, you got people that show good love, and then you're making everybody's worth it for everybody, then you can do really well just off that. Or you can take the route where you try to do the numbers, and of course, the more numbers you got, and even if it's not like too many people that are like gifting subs or doing anything like that, then you still have a lot of people sub though. You know what I mean? Like you could have, they're only paying $4.99. So, and you get, the other thing is, you can subscribe for free if you have Amazon Prime. Because Amazon owns Twitch.
Okay.
So that's what really made Twitch pop. That's why you see gamers and stuff with like 20,000 like viewers, and they'll have like 30,000, 40, 50,000 subs, is because like they'll tell you that the big chunk of that is from Prime subs. It's like people that they're getting it for free, you know what I mean? Like their mom, their dad, whoever has Prime in their family, and they give it to their favorite streamer every month or whatever.
Interesting.
So you can really run it up on Twitch for real. Like you can go crazy on there. Yeah,
no, I see a lot of creators like going crazy. Like Aiden Ross. I mean, he's obviously not a music creator, but dudes like that are killing it on Twitch.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah,
it's an unbelievable bag that they're on. Like it's an unbelievable thing.
I don't know. I don't think Twitch is for me, bro. I've come to that realization. You can't do everything.
Yeah, everything's not for everybody. And exactly, you can't do everything. 100%.
And I know what I'm good at, and I just know Twitch is not for me. But
that's I would say, if I were in your shoes, I would say like to maybe every now and then. I wouldn't even go to Twitch because YouTube you're already on YouTube and going in. I would like just every now and then
go live.
Do you do live streams at all ever on your channel?
I need to do more. I used to do a lot more.
That would be cool. I mean, and it would only boost the algorithm, and then they, because your channel went live, they'd be throwing you, even more into different things and stuff like that. And it doesn't even have to be like, it could be like a 30-minute, like, hey, I'm just tapping in with the community, or it could be anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be like it could be a Q&A that you do every couple weeks. Like it doesn't even have to be any like you're making music live or you're anything in like a battle or anything event. It could be like, okay, every now and then I do a Q&A, or every now and then we just kind of kick it, tap in with the community, see how everybody is.
Yeah,
something like that.
I would definitely do it for the community.
Yeah.
I just.
It is different though. No, it is different, especially if you're trying to be live a lot. Like I burned myself out. Like I was live so much. I didn't have anything else to do though. I'm like, well, shit. I'm already making music and doing all this anyway. I might as well turn on the camera.
Right.
But then it's like, even when you are just kicking it, we all need that like. time to where it's just us. Like, there's no cameras or nothing. You know what I mean? So
100%.
like after a while, it got like where I'm like, okay, hold on, like
now you couldn't differentiate if you were live or like
am I in a live stream or is this real? Like, is this reality? Where's the chat? Like, where's the chat? Like, it's like that shit started getting crazy. I'm like, whoa.
I feel you.
And I'm not. And if you're not getting it like them Aiden Ross, then it ain't. Hell no. That's why now it's like a balance. Like
exactly.
Some week, like I haven't streamed in like maybe over 2 weeks now, but it's because I went to that Miami camp and did all that stuff. But usually I'll stream like a couple times a week now. Like some weeks though I might not at all, but usually I try to stream like a couple times a week at least. Just
how was that?
It is a lot of fun.
How was the Miami shit?
Oh, that shit was crazy. I knew it was gonna be like a movie, like when they put the whole thing together, but I was like, I didn't understand how much it was. That was how much crazy it was gonna be. That honestly, like, because we're musicians. This is what we do. Like, you're around all these other people that are just as passionate as you are for what you do, and they're also so talented. Like, you're learning things, and there was no egos. Like, some of the biggest names were in there, but everybody was so cool. Like, nobody was on no ego tripping or nothing. Like, everybody was just on the same vibe. Like, I'm like, and everybody's in their own little studio rooms. I'm just bouncing around. Like,
so it was like a songwriting camp.
Yeah, it was songwriting camp. So like Beat Club put it together. It was like Timbaland and ASCAP came together, and basically it was some people that weren't on ASCAP there, but it was majority ASCAP. Like, they got ASCAP and Beat Club and Timbaland came together.
Shit,
songwriters
they didn't shoot
camp.
me the invite. I'm on ASCAP.
You are? Shit, that would have been tight. Shit. I didn't know. They hit me last minute, like, hey, like, damn, we're doing this ASCAP thing. We didn't even think, like, would you come through? I'm like, hell yeah, that sounds crazy. And I went, man, it was like, honestly, the funnest times, studio-wise and, like, musician-wise, that was the funnest time of my life. Like, that was one of the greatest times of my life. I'm not gonna lie. Because even aside from, like, the connections made and, like, the records and the studio stuff, all that stuff, just the vibe, like, everything, the feeling, it was like, and everybody was, like, saying, like, man, I needed this little recharge. Because, when you get around people that are on the same mission, it kind of charges you.
Yeah.
You get, like, a little boost. You're like, oh, shit, because we're on our own a lot. Like, just in our world, like, or whether if you got your little family or whatever it is, you're still like, but then when you get around other people that are like-minded, they're on the same mission, it kind of like charges your batteries a bit.
100%. I wanted to ask you about, let's talk about the business, right? Like building different revenue streams as a producer. What are, like, because I know you do a lot, so I'm curious, what are your biggest revenue streams as a producer?
Biggest revenue streams as a producer, I would say, up first, of course, is still going to be the music. It's still going to be the beats. But I will say it's because, like, in the beginning, like, I ran it up super crazy, like, on the online stuff and built the brand up. And now where the name is, like, you could do a custom exclusive for somebody and charge a really nice amount, or build a song around. They might be independent. That's where, honestly, the majority comes from, is like a lot of independent up-and-coming artists, placements here and there too, of course, but a lot of independent up-and-coming artists that have like a team around them. They might have a budget and they're like, look, we'll pay you, a few grand or however much to build this beat around here real quick, stuff like that. You can do really well on that end. You build up your name. Not the kits, the VST instruments.
You have
industry kits is a huge chunk. Always has been. But we've been doing it since like I've been selling kits since like 2010 or so, but industry kits been around since like 2012. So crazy. It better be going crazy after a decade. But it's definitely seen its better years though. The kit shit is hard as hell nowadays. Like that shit is, and we are all feeling that. So it's like, that's a thing too. Like it's. Honestly, like the revenue streams are all over the place. Like, Twitch live streaming, especially when I had like a deal with Twitch. I was in a little deal where they would help out a little bit too. They were going around trying to get creators and stuff like that. But that only lasted, a little bit. You just different things that come around, But I also do I do other stuff on the side. Like most of my stuff is music related. But I always try to come up with like side hustles and invest some money into other things too that are not at all music related. Like I'm starting my new brand called Spread Light, which I've always wanted to do that because I'm like, I don't claim to be like, some people like, oh, you're like, you never get down or nothing. Like, you're so positive all the time. Like, not like depression and anxiety and all that runs like heavy in my family. And I'm like real open with that. Like, doesn't matter. Like, sometimes we're all human. We get down, but spreading light is like something I've always, been big about. And like, that's going to be like basically merch, candles, music events, all types of different things. But basically with this message of like spread light, spread positivity. So I'm super excited about that.
That's dope.
But and then I have other things like over the years, I just always try to like, and that's always my advice to anybody, especially if you're laying your foundation and you're doing well, is like, it's great that you're killing it and whatever it is you're doing, but spread that around, you know what I mean? Because like, you don't want to, they always say you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, you know what I mean? Even if you're like the top most killing it producer in the game and like you're on top of the top, you should take some of that, you know what I mean? And go, let me go open up this little business. Let me go invest this into this website I always wanted to do. Let me go over here and, I got a homie that does this business that's completely unrelated, but like, he could use this chunk of money and I know it would take his business to the next level. And then maybe I could buy in over here or, just think like, you gotta, you know what I mean? That's how you get like the longevity for real.
Yeah.
So my income streams are like all over the damn place, but musically it still is like the most chunk is still on the producer side is, I get a lot from doing stuff like that. Like I said, independent,
producing beats, making custom beats,
industry kits, custom beats. The placements do do well, but like you said, like, I mean, you could get a placement and it's like, yo, like what the fuck? This was nothing basically.
Yeah.
Like we got a couple grand up front and like,
it's unpredictable. Like, I think.
Yeah, but then sometimes you could get one and you're like, whoa, you know what I mean? But it, like you said, it's unpredictable and it just depends on how it performs, really.
Yeah, yeah. So for young producers, right? Like, for a young producer that's watching or listening to this, what advice would you give them as far as like now in 2022 going on 23? How do I get my beats out there? Like, what is the best way to just start getting my music out there, whether that's getting placements or, getting my loops out? Like, what's the best approach in your opinion?
I would say, like, if you're a younger producer, you're any doesn't even younger, whatever. If you're a producer and you're like not on yet and you're like, bro, like you said, you're trying to get on, you're trying to get your stuff out there, do it all. Do everything you can possibly do. That's what it is. Like, that's what everything comes down to. Whatever your goal is, as long as you're doing literally every single thing that you can think of to do, then it's only a matter of time before it falls into place or you get whatever it is you're wanting to get. And just to be specific, this right now is like the easiest time. Not to say it's easy, because you got to remind yourself, always, I do it often, that I'm talking millions of producers in the world now. Yeah. Like, so many. And remind yourself that so many of them are extremely fucking talented as well. So it goes beyond just talent, too. But always be working on your craft, like, have fun with it. Don't let that be a pressure. Remind yourself, like, why you do music, you know? It should be because you love it, you know what I mean? Like, yes, of course, you want the accolades and you want it to become your career, because who doesn't want to do what they love as a career? But remind yourself why you do this and what drew you to music originally, and always keep that in your heart. As long as your heart's in the right place, you will never lose, like, period. You'll never lose. So you can go on Twitch streams. You can, like, literally, here's the story. I have a producer in my Twitch community. This is like one of the craziest stories ever, and I'm still honored that I'm even a part of this, bro. On my Twitch streams, like we were talking about, I got a producer that used to he wins all these beat battles that we do. He makes these fire-ass beats and samples. Dude is crazy. He's been crazy. He was going crazy for like a year and a half in our community. Everybody's like, wow, this is wild. But it was always a Rod Wave type of beat. Always a Rod Wave type of sound. Like, it was never anything different. And we were always like, damn, this is crazy. Like, well, but it's okay. Like, it's all right. If you make a certain sound, it's okay. You're definitely killing that sound. And he was like, one day he was like, yeah, I do want to switch it up and I will. But the thing is, I'm not, because like I'm on a mission, and like Rod Wave is my favorite artist of all time, and I got to get a placement with Rod Wave. Like, and until then, I'm zoned in, and I'm like, we can respect that.
And he got the placement.
He got the placement in the craziest way. One day, he's in this fucking Twitch stream doing a beat battle. he's killing it, and TNT comes in. You know, TNT, the producer, TNT, he produces most of Rod Wave's stuff.
Yeah.
So he comes in, he's like, yo, what's up? Oh, just checking out the stream, bro. Like, he's gonna start streaming soon. He's like, I just want to see what's going on over here. And we're like, oh, your streams are gonna be dope. Like, hell yeah, what's up with you? And I'm like, bro, look, I'm not trying to pressure you or nothing. But there's literally, you came, it was like destiny. This is a Rod Wave sample maker and beat maker, and he just won this beat battle. Can I connect y'all? And he was like, yeah. Let me, and he got with them, and I didn't know. I'm like, you know, maybe something happens. His name's Bad Habit Beats. He came back in the stream like maybe, you know, a little bit of time had passed, and he's like, bro, you guys, I made the album. You know what I mean? He sent samples to TNT that day. And Benson and stuff, he used the samples, and he's a platinum producer now because he was in the communities where he could. Shout outs to Bad Habit Beats, because but I said it, but he was doing whatever he could. You know, he's like, I see communities on Twitch that I can get in and show out, not show out, you know, but you got to, you know, show what I can do and try to get some, you know, some eyes on me or whatever. Do whatever you can do, whether it's you're going into Twitch communities, you're making YouTube videos, but. Like you were just saying, one thing that'll also help you go the longest is if you do things that you truly actually enjoy, though, too. If you're like, bro, I'm not a social media type of person. I'm not a live stream Twitch type of person. If you stick to like you do, that's good. If you stick to things that you know, like, you know, sometimes you got to like wiggle a little bit. Like, okay, I don't really like doing this, but I could do it a little bit. But if you try to make sure that for the most part, you're like, bro, I aim and shoot and do at things that I actually enjoy. And they're actually good for my mission too. Like, I don't step out, bro. Like, that'll go so far.
You're gonna win.
You don't want to be doing things you don't want to do. Exactly.
Yeah.
But point being, you can get it. You know, you can get it out here. It's a lot of ways you can get it now with all the technology and everybody being more connected. Just tap in, you know, and
I think the biggest thing is like follow through, right? It's like once you kind of put your mind to something, and it's all kind of, that all kind of depends on, like, again, going back to just doing what you love, right? If you do what you love, then there's more longevity in it because you love it. Whether or not you're making money from it or whether or not you're getting looks from it, you're just doing it because you enjoy doing it, and there's longevity in that. And as long 100%. As you follow through and do everything you can to get it out there, like you said, like, you're going to catch a win eventually. It's just a matter of time. And I think
only a matter of time. A
lot of producers just, they kind of lack the follow through, you know, they lack, the consistency. Like, they start, they can, the consistency. And that's people in general, though, not even only producers, it's business in general. Like, a lot of people, you can talk, you know, you can talk all you want to talk, and you can start, you know, you can have this great idea and like, oh, like, you know, this is how it's going to happen. This is how I can do things. And you can start it, you know, but unless you like are like, I am not stopping until literally this happens. And fuck that. You can't have that mindset either. So another thing, you keep in mind, you have to keep going. Like, a lot of people be like, oh, like, I'm not stopping till I get my Lambo, till I get this crib. Like, bro, you're not stopping then either. You know that, right? Like, so make sure you're doing what you love to do, because, like, to keep that crib, to keep that, you know, whatever it is, you have to keep going. Like, just so make sure you keep your heart in it. Make sure you have, you know, make sure you're doing a thing, whatever it is you can be doing, you're doing it. Make sure you don't stop, like you said. Don't put your foot on the brake, you know, like, make sure you're also living, though, because that is a thing too. Like, you know, you can, you know, I'm guilty, you know, I'm sure you are too, of like, you can go into grind mode too much sometimes, and that could be bad for you. So it's like, make sure you do balance it, though. Balance.
Make sure you live, make sure you get out, you know, do a little stuff, but, you know, make sure, though, you know, when it's time, like, you're going in, you're doing what you can do.
That's a good point.
And it'll come.
How do you split your time these days? So between music, between running your business, between just living your life, like, what takes priority at this point in your life?
At this point, it's like, priority is always, you know, I'm a grinder, man. So it's like, it's always first. It's like, I got to make sure I get things done that I know I need to get done, like, before any certain times. But then it's also, priority is happiness. And it's like health, you know what I mean? And it's like making sure mental health, physical, you know, that I'm like, okay, and make sure I'm living, you know, like, okay, I love what I do, and I you know, I love being in here. I've made the room to where it's like, hey, it's my little world. I could be in here for like whatever long.
It's a vibe in there, bro.
it's a vibe in there. What? You got a crazy studio too. Shouts to the new setup and everything, new crib, everything. Over there going ham. But you know how it is. But you also gotta have that balance. Like the priority is also like, okay, you know, work, you know, and have fun working and, you know, do the things you want to do. But the priority is also health and happiness. You know what I'm saying? And making sure, like, you know, I just try to, like we were saying earlier, I'm not good at like, I could have a schedule like, okay, at this time I'm doing this, at this time every day, but I'm more of, I just go with the flow. And like some days I'm like, you know what?
Let me just chill
like yesterday,
today.
I didn't do anything yesterday. I'm like, you know, I was grinding for the Black Friday sales and all that going on and trying to, you know, business side lining up and emailing everybody and just doing all those things. And I'm like, okay, look, next 2 days, I'm doing nothing. I'm going to play some the new God of War Ragnarok game, and I'm just gonna kick it with my cat, you know, kick it with my mom, you know, like maybe go on a little date or something, like, you know. Then I'll get back in here. And
the holidays will do that to you too. It's just like things slow down. You know, people are going on vacation, so it's like not as much business
as they should, you know, and they're spending time with their families. We all need that, you know. So it's like
it's a good recharge.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah,
you just gotta balance it, you know.
Yeah, bro. I think I'm the same way. Like I don't know how old are you?
I'm 33 now.
So I'm 35, right? So we're basically like the same age. And I noticed that at this stage in my life, I prioritize my health, my happiness, my fiance. Like I stopped working on the weekends. Like weekends are that's smart. Dedicated to me and my fiance doing shit together. We go out on date night. Like we do all kinds of shit. And
hell yeah.
And I think that's like, at the same time, I'm super blessed and grateful that I'm in that position to be able to do that in the first place, you know. But in my 20s, it was all about the grind. I didn't give a fuck. Like I could be in a relationship. Have to be like that, though. You have
low key.
Yeah,
low key, low key.
Because here's the thing. I don't think I would have made those same sacrifices at this age that I made back then.
Couldn't. You wouldn't have a fiance, bro. You wouldn't have none of that shit. So that's another thing, though. So here's another, that taps into another piece of advice I would say. If you are young, though, and you are going out, like shout out to Evan with a dope beat, little like 12-year-old sensation, a lot of young cats killing it. If you're a young age, like go as crazy as you can.
Go hard.
Of course, live though. Still get out there, play, do some stuff, but go hard, man. Like go crazy. You gotta go, like, cause like you just heard, like you can't really do that forever. I mean, you can, but not unless you try. You know, like you have to balance it at some point. So while you're in them young years where you're like, bro, fuck the parties.
Yeah.
You know, you can do all that. That stuff, you can do that anytime. Go do that sometimes. But most of the time, forget all that. You know how many hours that I sacrifice being like, no, I'm not going to no party. No, I'm not having no date. No, you can't come over and kick it.
You know what my parties were,
you can't
bro?
Be my friend. Like, I'm in here.
When I went out, when I was in like my early mid-20s, like my version of a party was, oh, cool, there's a beat battle at this venue. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to grab a drink. I'm going to have a good time, but I'm going to play my beats in front of everyone, you know? Like
that's my type of party. Yeah, yo, I'm there. Yeah, I'm there any day.
Exactly.
I'm there for sure.
Exactly. That was my definition of going out and having fun, and then I come back to the crib.
You can still get out. You can mingle. That's why I said the songwriting camp was one of my favorite times, because you getting to mingle, you getting out, but you're in your purpose at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, you're not just at a nightclub, everybody's dancing, everybody's drunk, and you're just like thinking of what frequencies made and mix this beat, and you're like, I should be in a studio right now. I could be in the studio right now.
Do you think that producers nowadays, with social media and with all these platforms and ways to get your stuff out, like, do you think it's still important for producers to like get out as much as possible and be seen and be in studios and?
Oh, I thought you meant, I mean, I 100% on the getting out just for your mental health. You know, especially now. The world is like crazy. We all need to get out and make sure you have some homies and stuff that you can go click with, or even if it's just online or whatever it is. You definitely we all need that. But as far as like, do you need to be like a focal main point to be a producer? No, hell no. That definitely will work a lot though. But it also comes on to if you're that type of person, if that's you. If you're a lot of producers are like, bro, I'm not with the whole like social media stuff and all that. I don't want to do all the stuff you got to do for branding, and I just want to make the music. You know what I'm saying? You can go crazy in super pop on your own still. Like especially if you live like in an area where there's a lot of music stuff going on, you could, get in there, move around. You don't got to be like doing all this content and be everywhere. Like you don't have to do that. That's only one route.
Yeah.
You could also take the route of like, how like I got like Team Hits,
right.
Team has Crash Dummies, 808 Mafia, Internet Money, just keeps going. You could be one of the producers on a power team.
Yeah.
Where it's like, bro, you go ham, you do what you love doing,
yep.
and you could do whatever you want. You could show yourself, you could not, it's up to you. But you'll still be getting your credits, you'll still be killing it. It's just really up to you. But don't there's a lot of stress involved with that, where like a producer will think like, bro, I gotta be like this, I gotta be doing all this, and like, bro, like, holy shit, that's not me. If that's not you, don't think you have to be like that.
Facts.
You don't have to. There's so many routes you can take. Like, don't let that like scare you or nothing like that.
Yeah, that's what I always tell producers now, is like, you don't have to be everywhere with your brand and your face everywhere. And like, if you're not comfortable with social media and putting yourself out there like that, cool. Just focus on being a great musician or a great beat maker, but you still have to build a certain amount of relationships, right? Because even if you click up with a producer, anybody, then you got to build those relationships. Like, it's just you have to get out there in one way or another.
Yeah.
So. It's like just focusing on your strengths, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing to touch on, though, too, because a lot of us producers are like introverts to an extent. We got a little bit of introvert in us or whatever. A lot of, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us. And it's like, that's fine. Like, I get in, I have like but you have to kind of like over time, you can train yourself to just like get better at that, you know what I mean? And be able to just like, okay, like, let me get out my shell a little bit sometimes, but you do have to get a little social. To be in any industry,
yes,
you have to be social. Like, trust me, coming from me, like, if you go back to like, I don't know, like even 2015, I'd say 2015 prior, so even 2016 maybe prior, I was kind of closed off. I didn't really follow too many people. People knew of me because of like what I had accomplished online and stuff like that, and the placements here, all that type of stuff. But I wasn't like too networking in. I might followed like 25 people, and I really didn't like. I knew people, but I didn't really like mingle too much. And then like I hit that age where I was just like, man, like, hell, I started realizing, like, well, to be honest, again, that's why I have so much love for Sonny, is, like, I met Sonny, and he was like, bro, like, you realize, like, you know what I'm saying, like, a lot of people fuck with you, bro, like, you know what I'm saying, you just don't be around, like, you need to, you know what I'm saying, like, you a cool dude, whatever, you just don't be around. I'm like, shit, you know what I mean? Like, this is really fun, like, going to things, and, like, so you might be a little, even if you're a little introverted, you might be a little, like, thinking, like, I don't know what it's going to be like with these situations, but it's a lot cooler than you would think. Like, you get around a lot of other producers and musicians. Of course, it depends on, like, who you're working with, right? You can get in some sessions where there's just some, bro, the energy is, you're like, oh, bro. Like, I hate this, but that's it, sometimes it'll be like that. But long as you're like careful with who you work with and who you surround yourself with, that's up to you, like who you put yourself in the room with, but it's really good for you to socialize and to like rub shoulders and stuff like that. It really just
comes down to getting outside your comfort zone.
Yeah,
like that's where the most growth happens, and if you're not growing, then you're staying still, you're stagnant. So I think it's healthy to get a pretty decent amount of like just being uncomfortable, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and it just it's just easier to do that when you're young and don't have a lot of responsibilities. You're willing to try more shit, and you're willing to like pull up to this dude's crib or pull up to this event or this party,
fly wherever you gotta fly.
Like go
you
places.
You don't got kids and a family and stuff where you're like, hey, all right, kids, I'll see. Like, it's gonna be a lot harder as you keep on. You know what I mean? So exactly, that's why. Again,
while you're young,
you can go hard,
go fucking hard. Yeah,
all the way.
Yes.
Pedal to the metal. Don't give in for nothing.
Yeah, facts.
But still live, but still make sure you have a little fun. But like 90-something% of the time, fucking get to it.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're going that hard, right, and it pays off, then you get to enjoy your life even more when you reach your 30s. Like,
exactly.
I love my life now, and I don't say that as like,
shit. No, you should.
You know,
yeah, no,
I'm not trying to flex on people, but like,
no type of flex. We should all be able to be like, yeah, we love our lives. You know what I mean? And we all can.
Fuck yeah.
Like, shit.
Fuck yeah.
But that's the key, though. That's what you. For anybody that's like grinding on any type of like entrepreneur level, but especially any producers, whatever it is, you're grinding and you're working your ass off right now so hard. Always keep this in mind so that later on you can do whatever the hell you want to do.
Yeah.
Whatever you might think you're missing out on now, remind yourself of like, that is nothing, bro. Like, if you just go hard and you just do everything you can, and yeah, it might, you know, and you just go in and keep your heart in it and put all that time that you can into it. Like Kato's saying, later on, you'll be able to do whatever you want to do. It pays off. You'll be able to have the things you want to have, do way better things than you could do right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, way funner things. Like, fuck the little parties and the little sacrifices when you're young doing all that. Go hard right here. And then later on, you'd be taking trips and having crib, do whatever. Like, it's limitless. You can literally do anything. You know what I mean? But you have to make those sacrifices for real. And then later on, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Facts. I love that.
You know?
Well, bro, I mean, we're at an hour. This might be so far my longest interview. But
damn,
I figured that would happen because, you know, we just have a lot to talk about because we're both producers.
True.
And,
yep.
You know, I feel like we got that in common. But
yeah, straight up.
I appreciate you, man. Like, you dropped a lot of
Same
gems,
here,
and I really appreciate the time. I love what you're doing, so keep doing it any way that I can support. Like, please reach out to me, and we definitely need to collaborate on something too, because
let's go.
I don't know how that hasn't happened, but
hey, we're always both thinking of things, so let's think of something.
Yeah, we'll definitely figure it out, man. But I'm gonna chop this up, put it on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube,
I can't wait to see.
Yeah,
that's gonna be tight.
It's gonna be
There's
dope.
a lot of gems in here. I think they're really gonna like it.
A lot of gems, bro. But
thank you for having me, man. This was dope. That
went
by quick. It's crazy. It's been an hour.
Right.
We've just been vibing.
This should be a podcast in itself. You know
That's what I'm saying. Like, you got the podcast going. You might want to just, you know.
Yeah, facts. But I appreciate you, bro. And just reach out if you need anything, man.
Same here. If you ever want to do another one or anything like that too, like, just let me know.
No doubt.
But we definitely got to let's figure something out on the back end. We'll figure some idea out to do.
Okay. I'm gonna hit you.
Let's get it. All right, let's get it, man. I'm here anytime.
All right, bro. Appreciate you.
Have a good rest of the day.
You too, man. Peace.
Love.